I think that's cool.
I'm curious, over your journey as a singer-songwriter, is there anything that maybe in like the past decade of your life, any styles of music or artists that maybe you just did not give a shit about when you were younger, but you kind of like grew into having some sort of an appreciation for them through like just like your time spent as a singer-songwriter and starting to like engage and take in music in a different way?
I mean, there's so many singer-songwriters that more I listen to them, I'm like, wow, they're so good. But yeah, there's a lot of bands, in the beginning I was like, but more I became a songwriter and, writing songs really opened up a lot about those songs and bands. Yeah, there are a lot of groups.
And then, on the flip, is there anything that maybe, you thought was like the bee's fucking knees when you were like a teenager, but now looking back on it, you're like, holy smokes. Like, what was I thinking?
Yeah. Back when I was a teenager, a lot of, like pop punk bands and stuff like that. And
sure.
Like, punk rock bands and, looking back now, it's, some of them I was like, wow, they're amazing. Now it's just like, whoa. Yeah.
Yeah. It's an
some of those bands, they still stick out to me, but
sure. A good song's a good song, but I feel like in order to like, it's very difficult, I feel like, to age gracefully, especially in like the pop punk genre, only because it's such a like unapologetically adolescent thing. That's like where the energy comes from. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. That's just it has like a youthful energy to it. And it's like, if you're going to age and keep continuing to make this music, it's like, you have to find a way to do it gracefully and maybe still like mature with the sound, I think like Punchline's a band that was able to do it, to bring them up again.
Absolutely. They were. Yeah.
But, there are other bands that maybe haven't aged so gracefully, but it's very interesting just figuring out, like, I don't know, it's just interesting growing as a musician, because like the type of music that you listen to starts to change, and what you appreciate and what you don't appreciate starts to change. And it starts to really reflect in like what you want to do as an artist. And if you're like somebody like me or you who are like, we put music out under our name, right? It's not just like this ambiguous thing. It's like, it goes back to that responsibility I was talking about at the beginning of the conversation. Cause it's like, I have a responsibility, maybe to people that listen to my music to like deliver things that they're coming to expect, but I also want to push the boundaries. But how far do you push them with like, it's like that tightrope between like,
well, it's crazy too, man. Like, going by your name, like you evolve as a person. So, it's, of course your music's going to evolve. I feel bad, honestly, for the kind of people that are stuck in a genre, and if they do something a little bit different, their fans aren't open to that. That isn't, you have to evolve. That's just human nature.
Yeah. It's really, really interesting to see, somebody like a Machine Gun Kelly, speaking of pop punk, right? Like, deciding to embrace this entirely different side of himself, but actually managed to like do it very successfully, which was really cool.
I mean, I guess they're saying he's bringing it back, so.
Yeah. I mean, well, it's like, for one, you got like Travis Barker on your team, who is like, the godfather of pop punk basically, and genre crossing, because he was doing all that like hip hop crossover stuff for over the past, like since the MySpace days, you know what I mean?
Seriously.
He's definitely the right person to bring on board for that. Mm-hmm. And the thing too with those songs is like, I don't really give a shit about any of those songs. Like, I'm not going to listen to them, but I can listen to a song and be like, that's a damn good song. And they're damn good songs. Like, they're really well written, fun, radio friendly, squeaky clean pop punk nonsense, but it's like good. And my friend Indigo, who I do like a synth project with, she showed it to me and I was like, I hate this, but also I understand why you like it and why everybody else does. Like, it's just not, I am not the target demo here for this, but it's good. It's really good.
I'm a mix on it. I you know, like there's some songs I do like on it, but I had to sit down and listen to the whole thing to hear the ones that I did like. Because I'm still one of those guys that sit down and listen to the full album front to back. So yeah, there were some songs on that new album that I liked, but I did have to dive in and kind of listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, it's really interesting to hear. I mean, outside of the Machine Gun Kelly stuff, because things recycle. You know, every decade or two, you get those. That stuff will happen. But also like there's a lot of things that are in like the more modern, I guess what people were considering hip hop or rap or R&B these days. And like, there's a lot of really weird stuff. And I'm like, I can't believe this is popular. Not because I don't like it. Yeah. It's just really strange to me. Like a Billie Eilish blows my mind that she is as big as she is. Not because I don't think the music is bad. It's just like, this is like very almost unaccessible. Like, how did it, like, what crossed over on this? It's so like anti-pop in a lot of ways, but also incredibly catchy. It's just really strange that was the money and the power and all of these things that were like, you know, behind the scenes that really helped somebody get to that level, because talent only gets you so far. Decided like, well, we're gonna roll the dice on Billie Eilish. I think it's cool. I'm glad that they did. That's somebody.
And she won so many awards too.
Yeah, that's somebody that I'm really excited to see like grow as an artist. Like her and her brother, who she produces all that stuff with. Yeah, seeing the two of them like over the next decade, I think is going to be a lot of fun and really interesting, because like you could tell that like they're still kind of figuring it out. So it's going to be really. Yeah, it's going to be.
You know what? I watched an interview with her brother too, which was really cool. Just seeing how, because they do a lot of stuff, I guess, you know, from their own studio.
Yeah.
And just seeing how they created some of the beats and stuff like that. They you know, household items, and one, you know, they recorded a traffic, you know, like.
Yeah. In Australia.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, that I think that's cool, you know.
Yeah. But I think that it's really cool that all that stuff exists, and I wish that like more people would see those videos, because it like makes me appreciate everything that's going on so much more. It's like this unrealistically human element to it. It's like, this wasn't like some manufactured in a studio lab sort of thing. It's like, no, it's like, these are a couple of music dorks just like me and you and anybody else that have been making weird songs in their bedroom for like the past decade. Yeah. And like, you know, now they've figured it out, and it's like, okay, sure. Like maybe she's only, you know, 19, 20, however old she is, but her and her brother have been doing stuff since they were like literal children.
I know. That's
it's like, what have you been doing for the past 10 years? You know what I mean? Like, it's so easy to naysay it, but like they put in a lot of work, and I think it's really cool. So I'm excited to see what's going on, you know, in the future for them. And just the fact that like an album that was recorded in a bedroom with somebody sitting on a bed and no isolation or none of this fancy shit. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's wild that technology is at that point where you can record a really fucking good album and you don't need like all of the fancy shit.